the camera guys who were on our show, they had worked on Maude, All in the Family, One Day at a Time, Facts of Life. And I say, is this funny? And those guys had seen everything. They're not supposed to say anything, but they would go, man, they did that on Facts of Life. We can't, try this.
Are you people ready for a good time with the cast of Good Times?
Yeah.
BernNadette Stanis and Jimmie Walker.
Thank you.
I like your shirt. Very, very explosive.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. How are you enjoying the con so far?
Oh, I'm loving it. Loving it. It's really nice. Getting a lot of fans coming up, saying wonderful things. Thank you.
That is great. I know it's been a couple years since the show. Do you remember your initial reaction to, finding about the show, finding out about it, and the audition process?
Yeah. Well, it's actually 50th year this year.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. We started in 74. The 79, so this is our 50th year.
50th anniversary.
Well, for me, the second part of the question, well, for me, I was very excited. It was my first audition, and so I didn't really expect to get it. And when I got it, I was so excited. Yeah. Jimmie had already had the show. I don't know, he was already in the show. When I went to my audition, I was auditioning with him, so there you go.
Yeah, that's it. that's the story.
So how many actors don't like you for getting your first audition?
Oh, I don't even know.
That is amazing. Now, the show hit the airwaves. It became quite a hit. How did that affect your daily life? Like going out into public, going to a restaurant, going shopping? What was that like?
Well, it was interesting. It does affect your life. I was always an adult with them, I was never really like a real adult without it. So for me, it was a little different. And as you mature, whatever, you look a little different than you did when you were a kid. So you can get, go places and, a little disguise here and there, and you're good. How about you?
It affected, I'm not even sure how it affected, because I was already like a comic. So I was in clubs already with guys who were allegedly stars. I think in my era, and all the guys, not all, but the guys got shows at the same time, which are Freddie Prinze and Gabe Kaplan and Travolta. And then Irene Cara got fame, and Bette Midler became a star. So I've seen these people from the very beginning of and then they've seen me too. I've seen them prior. Richard Pryor was in our era, of these guys. So there's a lot of those guys that everybody was just, not everybody, but people were trying to get shows or got shows or whatever you want to call it. And you would see people like Bette it was always funny with Bette because she was trying so hard to become whatever. And she just fought like a banshee to try to get whatever it was. And when she scored, she was just euphoric. I mean, it's like people like David Brenner always said, I'm a star now at this level, whatever it was. He always said I was a star. Freddie believed he was bigger than a star from the very beginning. From the time he came in when he was 17 years old, he just said, I'm better than everybody else. I'm funnier than everybody else. I'm better looking than anybody else. That's the way it goes. I can get women more than anybody else. I am the baddest guy out here. You guys are lucky to know me. I mean, Freddie always felt that way. And Gabe was different from the standpoint. He really was one of the rare guys who said, I'm in this to make as much money as possible, as quickly as possible, and get out as soon as possible. So he was that guy. And then everybody else was just like having fun. Steve Landisberg, who was on Barney Miller, he was just happy to kind of be there, and it just kind of fell into place for him. And so all the people were different. Everybody had a different level of what they wanted to do at that time. And then later on, when you see guys like Jay Leno, who you'll hear him say this all the time, I just do joke, get check. That was his thing. Letterman was much different than anybody else because Letterman never believed that anybody ever thought he was funny. He never believed that women liked him. He never believed he should be on the planet. He never believed anything. And when it happened, he was like, I don't believe this is happening. He was that guy. And I remember when he had a TV show in the morning. You guys didn't see that. He had a morning TV show, him and Merrill Mark or whatever, and two of my guys. And the show failed. And he had worked so hard on it, so hard. And he was just devastated that it didn't make it. And he came over to my house and he just said, my life is over. And I said, no, Dave, you'll get another show. And two things happened. I called Leno, because he left my house like at 3 o'clock in the morning. I called Leno. And David said, my life is over. I'll never get another show. And I said, Dave, you're going to get another show. And he said to me, the exact words, he says, what am I going to do? Host a goddamn Tonight Show? So I called Leno after it happened. I said, Leno, Letterman just left. He's through, man. He's got no chance. and obviously the show, whatever happened with the show. So all the guys, everybody was just different in the way people handle it. And some guys are still mad they didn't get a show now. After 50 years, some guys are still upset. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, I don't have a show. So the best way to show your love for these fine people is to ask questions. We have a microphone over here, so feel free to get in line over there.
Nobody has a question.
While you are getting up the nerve to ask a question, because trust me, they don't bite.
Come over to the table and ask questions, but they won't go to the microphone.
Oh, don't be so negative. Come on. There we go. We have a question.
This is karaoke, right? No.
Karaoke.
Yeah. First off, I'm glad to see you guys both here. I wish to God I could have seen you in comedy. Do you still do any comedy?
That's what I do mainly, like 40 weeks a year.
Do you have a schedule?
Yeah, I have a schedule on my website. And
okay.
I worked here 1,000 times at Zanies down in Nashville, which is probably one of the, I would say, even though I'm not there and they haven't put me in as much as I should be, it's still them and Zanies in Chicago and Zanies here are the two of the best clubs in America. So I would suggest, even though I'm not there, they have some really good people there.
Okay. One other question. What was your favorite episode?
BernNadette has her favorite episode.
Oh. Well, I like the wedding show, of course, because, it's a two-parter. And also The African Prince. I love those two shows. For various reasons, one, the wedding show, when I married Keith, it was like a real wedding. It was done so beautifully. And I enjoyed that. And Esther Roll had left the show for a year, and this was her coming back to the show for that 1 year. Yeah, that was our last season. And then The African Prince, I enjoyed dressing up in the African garb and bringing that culture to America, because that was kind of like the first time we actually saw something like that. Sitting on the floor, eating fufu, whatever that was they put together. And just the African stuff and the braids and all that, And me standing up to eBay to let him know that in my culture, we don't have 5 wives. I got to be the only wife. And he's like, oh, no, you can't be the only wife. I know. I'm like, no, we're not going to go here. No. So those are my shows.
Oh, well, I just went out to do damage, do comedy damage. I guess we had an argument. We would always have, not an argument, a discussion about humor on our show. And we had one debate that BernNadette was teaching this girl how to speak French. All right? So I wanted to go out with her, as I always do, and women always turn me down, which is the normal situation in life. And so I'm trying to go out with her, but I want to get with this girl, so I want to learn how to speak French too. So I'm malapropping all the French words, right? And BernNadette's in there teaching her this French thing. And I'm going, I'm going to Bonami this week, and I'm going to do some que sera and things and that. And I'm trying to get the girl to finally, as I always do, even in real life, to try to go out or whatever. And so I came up with a thing at the end, and Norman Lear just thought it sucked. And I said, Norman, it's going to kill. It's going to be on. He says, it means nothing. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I said, I'll bet you $100 it works. So he said, well, I don't bet. But then somebody in our cast, not in the cast, in his crew says, I'm with Walker. I'll bet $100 that it works. So we went back and forth. So at the end of this betting thing, we had like $2,000 on this line. And I said, I know it will kill. So at the end, and shows you how far back it goes, it says, well, finally the girl comes around to logical ways and says, I'll go out with you. That doesn't happen in real life, but in this play it did. And the thing was, I said to her at the end, well, see you at the Kool and the Gang concert on Tuesday night. Que sera, Bonami, and cognac. And it totally killed. And Norman Lear says, I don't get it. I don't understand. I said, Norman, it doesn't mean anything. It's just like a thing. Like Michael Richards does it a lot on Kramer. When he does Kramer on Seinfeld, it doesn't mean anything. It's just like you'll see him go, it didn't mean anything. It was just, and I always say, the energy of the moment. And every time I came up with something like that, I would say 75% of the time it worked. But when it didn't work, we'd be sitting at the table like this, and Norman would say, so what the hell was that line about? And he looked over and says, I know, energy of the moment. And that was my best thing with Norman. And when the line did work, he came into our dinner thing. We had a dinner thing like this, and he says, well, people, everybody pay attention. Jimmie Walker came up with a line, I don't get it, I don't understand it, but I'm never going to challenge him again on some stupid shit like that. And it killed. I loved it. I love when that happened. That was my favorite moment, to get Norman to be on my side.
Looks like we have another question over here, sir.
Hey, good afternoon. Pleasure to meet you guys. So JJ was like one of the inspirations kind of led me to be an artist. And as I became an adult, I realized it was actually, I think, with Ernie Barnes, right?
Yes.
That did all your paintings?
Yes.
But I always wondered, like, do you actually paint yourself, or?
BernNadette will tell you how much of an artist I am.
Okay. They had a show where the actors would come in and do what they did on their show. Mm-hmm. So we were in an art gallery, and, Jimmie was to paint, really, because he was the painter. And we actually saw the painting. Mm-hmm. Okay. You know the mass scream? That's what it looked like. And so he's going to take it at the end of the show and throw it in the garbage. I said, you're not throwing that away. Give me that. So I have his painting, his real painting.
Oh, I'm horrible. I can't.
He's horrible. And now he can't even draw a stick man. But I, on the other hand, am a painter.
Okay.
I'm a painter.
That's pretty awesome. Like, do you have your stuff posted in your?
On my website, you can see my paintings.
What's your website?
What's my website? ThumbUpGoodTimes.com.
Okay.
Like that. And my Facebook, it's BernNadette Stanis, and on there in the background, you have the circle, your face, and then the background is my watercolor of my fox.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. Thank you.
Commissions available. All right. It looks like we're
wait a minute. Some guy's racing to the
Racing to the mic. Dun, 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 dun.
Well, we don't want the uncomfortable silence, Now, I know on your website, Mr. Walker, a frequently asked question, will there be a good times reunion? No! Exclamation point. But I don't consider this a reunion. But were you ever, either of you ever approached with post projects related to the show that you turned down, and what was your reason for saying no, that's the past? I'm so glad you were not associated with that animated nonsense.
No,
It was garbage.
no, it had nothing to do with that.
I didn't even finish the first episode.
No, that was horrible.
Yes.
Yeah. I went on TMZ and talked about it, Yeah, they probably got mad at me or whatever, but hey, it was horrible.
Yes.
Brett Miller was Norman Lear's, in the end, right-hand man. He was so against us. I don't understand what the problem was there. He just hated us. And it showed in his actions toward us and everything. He just hated us. I don't understand it.
He wasn't so nice. But, it's like that in the business. You can't please everybody, but, you have to stand up for some of the things that are right and not right. And the animation was, disrespectful.
Yes.
And I also said that, Esther fought so hard to make it a dignified show, and John fought hard, and we did too. I mean, we all, wanted it to go a certain way. And when you have a baby in your arms doing crack, okay, that's not what Esther or any of her babies would do. So I'm just saying, 50 years later, some of us are still here. Okay, so we still can see what you're doing. Don't do that.
Now, were you ever approached with something later that you said, no, that's not in the spirit of the show, or declined?
Oh, you mean on the real show?
Right. In the years following, the 80s, 90s, were you ever approached with, hey, we want to do this with Good Times? And I never saw it if you did, so.
No, nobody ever tried anything like that.
That's surprising. Seems like we would have got a spin-off.
No, they did not. Later on, we tried all to get together and do a revised thing like that, but we could never get it together. Everybody's kind of busy. Mm-hmm. And then we lost Walona, and then we lost Bookman, now John. I mean, so, it's just the three kids now. We just have to do it.
There'll be one after.
Yeah, bring Janet Jackson back. That would be.
Well, she's not with us, but let's.
Oh yeah, but it's so cute because when Esther passed away, Janet called me. I stayed close with Janet and her family and all, and it was so cute because she said, I just want to give my regards, BernNadette, and because she was in England. So I said, okay. She said, how is Jimmie? I said, well, Jimmie's fine. Why don't you call him and talk to him? She said, I never talked to him. I said, what? You never what? I couldn't believe what she said. She said, no, I never really talked to him. I said, why? I was just too shy.
Look at that.
Well, she was a kid, and I know everybody has kids, but I'm not a kid guy, So
No, he's not.
No, I'm not with the kid thing.
If you'll suffer one more question, I'll let someone else have a chance. After the years, you all still stay in touch and stay close?
Yes.
That made me think about that when you said you got a call from Janet Jackson. It made me wonder.
Well, not Jimmie and Janet. They don't stay close.
She wants to. She loves him very much.
I'm sure she'd be all choked up about it.
And he likes her too. Now that she's grown, I guess. He likes her. You like her? Yeah.
I'm indifferent.
But you know what I mean? He's just like not into kids, and I knew he was not into kids.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, while someone else is getting ready to race over, BernNadette, you have a book that's coming out very shortly?
Yes, he does.
Tell us about that. And
yeah, well, the book that I have, it'll be out very soon, like in about 3 weeks. So if you want to go to my website and order it, or if you want to go to my Instagram, I have how to get the book if you want it there. It's called Good Times, Ain't We Lucky We Got 'Em? My memoirs, along with, my daughter and I wrote it, Brittany Rose.
Brittany, of course.
Don't pay him any mind. I have 2 daughters, right? One is more artsy, that's the oldest one and stuff like that. And one is more academic. She's like, come on, mother, I'll help you read it. She does all the typing. She does everything for me like that. So that's what he means. But the book is going to be very, very good. It's just, I like that outfit. outfit. It's just my memoirs of my version of what it was for me. It has nothing to do with anyone else. I talk about Jimmie.
Don't speak my name.
I talk about Ralph. I talk about all my castmates. I talk about, things that happen behind the scenes for me. And it's just a fun book. I think you're going to love it.
Jimmie, do you have a book coming out?
I had a book which is called Dynamite, Good Times, Bad Times, Hard Times. And it's out there, and we made the top 50 books, or whatever they call it, autobiographies or whatever it was. We made that, and then we just kind of leveled off. I have a new book that actually I'll be editing within the next month or so called The State of Comedy Today. And it just talks about how it's changed from my era, which was the Flip Wilson, Alan King era, those things, till now where we have the Cat Williams, whatever era. That kind of Nikki Glaser, Cat Williams type of thing that does shock me sometimes.
Yeah, it's like shocking comedy.
I do have to say, you guys act like your brother and sister in real life. Because
well, BernNadette's fault.
50 years. Okay.
We have another question over here, sir.
My bad. So I was wondering if either of you had any advice for a young actor or comedian just getting into it.
Make sure you get a good college education. That's the key. And I think that what eliminates a lot of people, and this business, what you need is a tremendous amount of luck. That's important. You need a lot of friends, and you need to be in the right place at the right time. Notice I mentioned nothing about talent. That doesn't mean anything. If you have the guy I give the most credit to, whether you like his movies or not, is Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler has hired more friends, buddies, whatever, to be in his movies than anybody out here. And I give him incredible, whether you like his movies or not, I just give him so much credit for going to bat for the George Wallaces and the Tim Meadows and the Blake Clarks that you guys don't know. But this is the kind of thing, if they only get like 1 or 2 lines in a movie, it means so much. You guys, if a guy just goes, hey, you want 10 of those, you want 5 of those? Yeah, take 10. Okay, we see you later. That means so much.
It means you get your SAG card,
Yeah.
You're a speaking actor.
It means, and Adam has been, and like I said, a lot of people you talk to go, oh, I hate Adam Sandler, he's horrible, he's terrible, I hate his movie. He does favors for everybody. And I just have nothing but the greatest deal of respect for him.
Now, on the other hand, okay, I feel a little different about that. I feel if you're going to be an actor, see, mostly it's comedy for Jimmie, but he's right when it comes to comedy and things like that. It is the people that you know and your friends and stuff like that. But when you're acting, it's a little different because you have to bring emotion to your character. It's a skill. And I think that if you want to be an actor, and a real actor, you should really study the skill of this craft. Okay? It looks very easy. It looks like anybody can get up there and do it, but it's not true. Not anybody can get up there and act. Okay? So you have to go to school, learn, and find out where you are with your acting, and you have to study. It's a skill. To do something over and over, it's a skill. That's all it is. Plus the talent. Okay?
I appreciate your time to answer my question.
I was going to say, just to sum that up, study hard and become friends with Adam Sandler.
That's a good one.
So you had another question?
No, I was going to say thank you for taking the time to answer my question. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question.
So while we're waiting for the next brave audience member, you guys had a lot of great guest stars on the show. Ron Glass, Gary Coleman, Lou Gossett Jr.
Yeah.
Are there particular ones that stood out to you guys that you really have a fond memory of working with?
Well, I'll answer that first. I do. I like Dap Sugar Willie. I like Dap Sugar Willie from North Philly. That's what he used to say. You know Lenny? I got plenty. The reason why I liked him as a character because to me he was a character within a character. Okay, first of all, I never believed his name was Dap Sugar Willie. That's the name he gave himself. Okay, so when I would see him come in the morning, he always had a suit. He always had a suit, everything matching. His hair was pressed down with the curls, the whole nine. He had an attaché case, and the script would be in there, and he would walk, and he had a handkerchief in his pocket, and before he would sit down, he would brush the thing off a little bit, the seat. He would put the handkerchief on the seat, and he would sit down. I mean, that was my favorite character.
Dap Sugar, he's out there, boy.
Dap Sugar Willie.
He loved it.
But on a serious note, we had some wonderful actors. We had some very wonderful actors. I can't even name them all. Only Ralph could do that.
Ralph knows everybody.
Yeah, but we appreciate all the wonderful actors that we did have on that show.
Jimmie, was there a standout guest star for
Well,
you?
not stand up. Well, I mean, the guy that I worked with a lot because he was a comedian is T.K. Carter. Always had rhymes and things ready to roll. And actually, whenever he was on the show, he led my little part of the show.
Foursome. Tell me some part of the foursome.
Yeah, we had the foursome that would always come up with these little. Before rap was big, TK would come up with these little things, and I always would look for him. I said, "What do you got, TK?" And he'd have it all written out, ready to roll. And with Norman and Alan Mannings, we always had to fight a little bit. And I said, "This is great. TK came up with it. Let's roll." And we roll it, and you would feel the crowd because there was always a dynamite thing at the end. He'd always come in with the thing, and you just go, "Yeah, TK, man." He always had something. He was solid. He was solid. I like TK, and he did impressions too. Johnny did impressions, Johnny Brown, but his impressions were a little too old for the crowd. He'd have
Well, he worked with Sammy Davis Jr.
Right. Yeah,
and the Rat Pack.
Yeah, he would have
So he was in that era.
He would have Peter Lorre or something like that. You go, "No, Johnny."
Joey Bishop.
Yeah. But TK could do he could do the Ali, he could do all the stuff.
Yeah.
He had all the current cats ready.
Yeah.
We have another question.
You do. How much of you did you bring to your character? I grew up watching Good Times, and I'm having a hard time seeing a lot of what I'm seeing now in those characters. So that would be my first question, if that's okay.
Okay.
How much of you personally would you say, percentage-wise maybe, of your characters are you?
You want me to go first?
Go.
Okay. Well, with my character, I realized, I'm the eldest in my family. So, I'm a Capricorn, so I'm more serious.
Oh, that explains everything.
You better believe it. You better believe it, baby. And so when I had to deal with my character, Thelma, I made her a Gemini, and she's a middle child. So she was a little more bubbly than I am. I'm more grounded, more serious, more worrying all the time. But, the Gemini thing is a little bit more, and that's how I made my character.
Right.
How about you?
Me, I came in for damage. I would sit with my guys when I had my writing staff, my big staff with Leno and Letterman and Elaine Boozler and Louis Anderson and Byron Allen, and say, how can we make this as funny, as killer? I said, when I hit that stage, that door, I want to be the most damaging guy out there where people go, here it comes now. And that's what I would tell my guys. And they would all write jokes. And then, as strange as it sounds, the camera guys who on our show, they had worked on Maude, All in the Family, One Day at a Time, Facts of Life. And I say, is this funny? And those guys had seen everything. They're not supposed to say anything. But they would go, man, they did that on Facts of Life. We can't. Try this, and they would always talk. They would always come up with stuff. Vito on Camera 3, crazy man Vito, always had. I'm still shocked to this day that nobody has hired Vito as a writer or a punch-up guy. He always had stuff, man. I go, Vito, that's great, man. Can you tighten it up more? Yeah, we got you, man. You know, it's that kind of thing like that. So we always had stuff. And then even when I was off camera, I could wave to them and go, you got me? And they go,
he was cheating the whole time. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, we're on camera and everything, and Jimmie doing this, and then the cameraman gets his whole face in the camera. But the funny part about the whole thing was that Jimmie's character was so bubbly and so out there, but he's not like that. Okay. He's very quiet, actually. You know, so people say, no, he's not like that. No, he's not like that at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, my second question would be the process, and specifically during Good Times. What was your favorite part of the process? Table reads, rehearsal, recording day. What was your favorite part of that week?
My favorite part was doing the show.
Doing the live show?
Yeah, I like to do the show. Yeah, on Thursdays we did 2 shows. That was my favorite part because it was performing. Everything else was work. Just trying to get there, you know? Yeah. So on Thursdays we got there. Yeah, that was my favorite part.
Oh.
Mr. Walker?
Well, because I was on the road, me and the mighty Mr. Gino, who's my road manager, we'd sit and go over and over and over and over for the flight. If it was a 3 or 4 hour flight, we'd just sit and go over. And then in my room, it's the same thing if I did a late night TV show or whatever, we'd have 3x5 cards all over. If some woman was silly enough to come home with me, she would say, what's all these 3x5 cards here? And it would be the lines that I work on and then talk to my guys and go, is this funny? And they would go, no, try this. And then I would sneak it in, and Baskin and Shulman or Weisskopf and those guys would go, what is this? And I go, I think it's good. They go, okay, let's try it. So it's that kind of stuff like that. So it was all my 3x5 cards. If you go to my room, you'll see them all over the room. Yeah. You'll see them, and if you look at my phone now, you'll see my last. Let's see, this is 2024. From 2008 on, every show is recorded. It is in a vault. It is mapped out. Every line, everything, every whatever. You'll go, oh my God.
But the most amazing part about Jimmie, and I got to say this, although I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Jimmie never, ever missed a line. He was the only actor that never missed a line. Never. I mean, his lines were absolutely perfect every single show.
Well, the reason that happened was because when I would go in to do the store or the factory or the improv, my guys would come with me, and they would, as we go over lines and stuff, they would say either a joke that we were working on or a thing in the show. They would say it to me, like BernNadette would have a line. The guy would say, and BernNadette says this, and I have to answer it. Or John would say this, I have to answer it. So before I go on, they would go at me with the lines. So everybody was always attacking me with the lines every time. And you just go, okay. So we go home, and you'd be thinking about it. You go, God, I hope this. Letterman used to always say to me, he says, you're the only guy who can do a line completely backwards, and it works. I don't understand how that happens. So it was just a constant, even now. I mean, I have jokes that I have at the end of my act that I'm working on right as I'm sitting here with the audience. I'm thinking about it, you know? So you go, okay, let's get it together. And then it would piss me off if I miss it in terms of ending my act. I always want to end strong when people go, yeah, that's all right. All right, thanks, man, good night. The same thing with the play that we did every week. I want that line to work. And I look at guys now who are good television, funny cats. And even though people attack Michael Richards, he had great stuff. Jim Parsons from Big Bang Theory, it pisses me off how good he is. I go, God, because he's got the inflection down, he's got the stuff down, and then conversely, I know I don't want to curse or anything, but Bill Cosby on his show, stuff that maybe not my style of comedy, but you go, man, that killed. I cannot believe it. And that's what I always went with. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm just wondering with these 3x5 cards.
All the time.
And the ladies would come over. Would you be studying a wall, entertaining the ladies?
They would go, why is this on your wall? What are you doing? It's an insane. I said, that's the word. They go, and they look at it and they go, oh, okay, because they didn't know. You have to have them in context. You just can't have some lines work by themselves, but then some lines you need. What they did on our show, maybe people didn't know, because of my alleged comedic thing, whatever, they said, some of the cast may not want to be out there when you're on. So we're going to give you a little soliloquy, which is a monologue, to talk to yourself. You do your own timing. And that's what we would do. I would just be out there talking, oh man, I don't understand. And then either Janae would come in or BernNadette would come in, and that would be the end of my little thing, because Janae would always go, hey gang, that kind of stuff like that. So it was that. But they would always say, we got to, Alan says he's a comic. Let him do a monologue, but in the course of the show, not just a monologue,
right.
But in the course of the show. And that would work like that. That's what they would do.
Yeah, we have some very brilliant writers too.
That's right. There's enough tax on the writers. We had great writers. Thank you.
Yeah.
Even though they were white and everybody complained that they were white, white guys can write too.
I don't care what color. They were brilliant writers.
Yeah.
I mean, they would write where little kids could watch the show and not really know what's really going on. And then as you get older, you look at the same show and you say, oh my gosh, we were saying that? It meant that? So I thought that was very, very brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Mr. Oh, he's just standing.
He's got a good shirt.
Hey,
Yes,
how you
he
doing?
does.
All right. First of all, I'd like to say I grew up watching your show. I was like, I caught it in reruns, but anyway, I'm a fellow New Yorker just like y'all. Back when you guys was taping back in the 70s, did you guys think at that time that show would be a cultural icon and that you guys would be here 50 years later doing tours based on that show?
I absolutely did not think that. Absolutely not. It was like a show. I was so happy to be a part of it. And I was thinking, because I didn't know Hollywood. I didn't know how it worked. So it was like, okay, good show. Okay, so after the show, you start doing another show? Oh, you start doing another show? Don't work like that either. But so after that show, it was Thelma forever, man. It was just Thelma forever. Everywhere I went, it was like Thelma. That's it. I could not even break it. And so if I would audition for other things, they would see Thelma. Mm-hmm. So that made it rough. So I just had to do more plays in that era and things like that. But no, it was something else. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, and a perfect example, the guy who played, sometimes, and this is a terrible thing to say, but sometimes you can do a role too good, and you're in that role. And we did an autograph show with a guy who played the suit Nazi in Seinfeld, okay? And he said, I had studied acting, I had been, whatever, doing this, and he went to NYU, acting school and everything like that. And he says, he got the role of the suit Nazi, which is just one episode, okay? And he said, after that, I was going out on auditions and stuff, and I would go out in the street and people would go, no suit for you! And he said, I had never, ever gotten out of it. He says, I have done corporates, I have done these autograph shows, and everywhere I go, people go, this is like 30 years later. And he says, people could just go, no suit for you! And he goes, in the beginning, he didn't know why people were saying that to him. And then constantly, people would go, no suit for you! And he would pop out of like eggs on a corporate thing, and they'd go, here's our corporate guy, and he's our food man, and he's going to speak to you today. And they'd open the thing up and he'd go, no soup for you! And they close the thing and it would be the end. They'd fly him in to do this one line. And now he says, and I studied acting and everything. And he said, it's never changed. He said, I have never stopped working because of this one line, which is just ridiculous. And he talked to Larry David. Larry, who used to, well, I guess he'll still say he's a comic, but anyway, he talked to Larry David, and David said, man, you killed it. You did the thing on whatever. And he has said, every year I make 6 figures just doing that. Nothing else. Never been in another program, nothing. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No soup for you.
And dynamite.
Yeah, dynamite. Yes. Yeah.
And so that's how it works. That's how it works. When the audience falls in love with a particular character, then they're going to hold on to that character, and that's who you are. And I thank God for it. 50 years later, they still love us, so they love our characters, and it's okay with me. Yes. It really is.
Well, the soup Nazi, by the way, is Larry Thomas.
Yeah, he's a good guy. We were with him at the Hollywood show. I don't think you talked to him, but he's a good guy. He just said, I've made my SAG benefits every year just doing that. He says, my health benefits are there just because of, no soup for you. Go ahead.
I just had a question if you had good, warm relationships with the actors that played your parents on the show?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah. I was very, very close to Esther. You know, she adopted me as her surrogate daughter, and my Hollywood mom. You know, I hung out with her all the time. She helped me in a lot of ways, and I loved her. I loved her very much. I think she didn't understand comics very well. She was just into acting. So I think she and Jimmie, I don't know, they didn't understand the language of each other. But I do think that everything blended together well to make good times.
It blended beautifully, but that's kind of what I was getting at. Over the years, I'd heard that maybe there was some like professional jealousy over...
No, not jealousy. It wasn't jealousy.
Or just maybe, I don't know, just...
It wasn't jealousy. It was just... it wanted to go a certain way, you know? And then when the writers would write something that was, like Norman would say, it's stupid. It doesn't make sense. But he would let it go. You know, I guess as actors, thespians, they would think the same way. And then being, you know, they didn't want their young son to be like silly or anything like that. Okay. And so they made him where he's not silly, you know, he's just a comedian, he's making fun, and he made the show brilliant. So, I mean, they understood that. But, you know, you got thespians and you have a comic. Come on.
Yeah.
You know,
I put it to you this way. When I was working the store in the beginning, the comedy store and the improv, at one time it was supposed to be me and Flip Wilson. Flip Wilson had a TV show, whatever. And I was supposed to be whatever, the new, young, whatever you want to call it. Then Freddie Prinze came. And Freddie Prinze changed the thing for a while. And for us, me down below, you have to understand Freddie was like that guy at that time. So Freddie came. Then Pryor came. That changed everything. He was dominant at that time. And you just have to say, okay, it's Richard Pryor time and get out of the way. Then Robin Williams came and everything evolved around Robin Williams. So it was, Richard was the guy, and then Robin Williams came, and he was the guy. And sometimes you just gotta kind of roll with it, you know, that's what it is, you know. And then Roseanne came, and then that changed everything. And then Jim Carrey came, and that changed everything. Then Steve Martin came. And you just go, oh my God, you know, look at these guys. So as being a perfect example, we did the 9th year anniversary of Comedy Store. So I was in that on HBO. But Mitzi comes to me and she says, Mitzi's the owner, she says, hey man, we know we promised you 9 minutes, but we got some people we want to give them a chance. They already know you. So we have Jim Carrey and Sam Kinison. So we're going to give them your spot. But they already, and you just go, oh, okay. And obviously Jim Carrey and Sam Kinison went on to do whatever they do. And you just have to kind of like go, that's it. And I look at it that way. And it's the same thing now with the girls. You know, we had the girls, we had Whitney Cummings. She was the girl at one time. But then Nikki Glaser came. And now she's the girl. Before Nikki Glaser, there was Amy Schumer. But when Nikki Glaser came, she dominated. And that was the way it goes. You just have to kind of, I mean, nobody, I don't think, holds on to a spot. I mean, you want to keep your spot, but it just, you know, whatever, different guy. Now, with the guys, Matt Rife is the guy now. And women love this guy. And he sold out like 20,000 seats in places, and women go crazy over this guy. And you go, oh, okay. And like for me, money went down. Preacher Lawson, he took my spot. That's the way it goes. You got to kind of like go, that's it. You know, it doesn't mean you're not funny. It doesn't mean you're not good. It just means, I go, yesterday the Dodgers win, right? And unbelievable situation with the Grand Slam. Freddie Freeman used to be the guy, okay? Then Mookie Betts came. He was the guy, okay? Now it's Shante, what's his name? The Asian guy. Now, yeah, Ohtani. Now he's the guy. So it's just you got to just, that's it. You know, so you got to go with that.
Thank you both so much.
Okay.
Well, we are just about out of time. Anything you guys want to say?
Thank the people for coming.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being our fans for 50 years.
BernNadette.
On that note, thank you guys so much. Be sure to visit them at their tables.
Hi, this is Maisie Richardson-Sellers, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be a legend and hit that like button, and most importantly, have fun and follow your fandom.